Welcome back to Look Today. I'm here with mayoral candidate John Safford. John was a guest with me on Beyond the Headlines recently, and we actually ran out of time. There were so many issues that we wanted to talk about, so we're going to have a little bonus segment here on Look Today to talk about a particular issue that's been kicking around in the headlines recently, and that is the city center parking garage. So, John, welcome back.
Thank you.
You bet. So, recently, a group has come forward talking about the city center parking garage that's been in the news for a number of years. There's been some issues going back and forth with the zoning board as it relates to the solar panels that are around the Muzan house. But there's a group now that has come forward and met, and they're proposing some other use for that particular parcel. So tell us a little bit about what you know about this issue and some of your thoughts.
Well, I have met with many people, including people who have had designs. There have been many designs for that lot over the years, and I've certainly talked to a lot of people who have had those ideas. Sometimes it's a bit of a mystery why something wasn't done earlier, but it just seems that whatever is proposed there, whatever it is, will be opposed. One of the there was a meeting a Sunday ago that was about solar panels, but it was really about the parking structure. And I was talking to one of the people who was there afterwards, and we looked at that lot, and I said, regardless of what happens in the next 10 years, 15 years, that whole lot is going to be 3-4 stories high, the whole thing. And if the objection is that it's going to block, this parking structure only takes up about a third of it, or even less than that, right at the end of it. And one of the objections is, it'll be a big block sitting there, and it'll look ugly. I says, it's going to be, at some point it's going to be all filled in anyway. That's the point behind it. But right now, I don't know if people give enough credit to the city center. Every day, if you sit downtown, you will see, not every day, but many, many days of the year, you'll see people walking down with their little, badges on. And the city center and the tourist bureau have done a wonderful job bringing meetings here. Almost every day there's some kind of a meeting, and those people are walking downtown. So you have these kind of two economic engines. You've got the ACO with what, 300-400 people. Finger paint, you've got these people who have moved on to Broadway at that end. That's sort of an anchor on that end. And you have an anchor on the other end that brings economic activity to downtown. And to deny them the opportunity to have even more people there, which would free up a lot of parking downtown as well, is wrong, in my opinion. We need to have the parking. One of the things that I've talked to people, when I first got into this, I had somebody give me a book that was on sustainable communities, and it was about Burlington, Vermont. So I hadn't been there, so I went over there. I met with people there. And one of the things that Burlington, Vermont has is a lot of parking. You can get into that city, you can park, and then they've got wonderful places to go. We have a wonderful downtown, and some of that is starting to spread out into some of the other areas. We need people coming all the time.
Now, the specific issue as it relates to the Muzan house is, my understanding is, that they had put some solar panels
up. A solar issue.
And that there were some zoning issues that precluded the city center from doing that. Right now, my understanding is that the city council is in the process of potentially getting that ordinance changed. Are you in favor of that?
Yes. Well, if that ordinance, I deal with this all the time in the HOAs that I manage, because this is becoming a big issue there. But if that ordinance were not changed, there would be no high buildings built. And of course, for people who don't want high buildings to be built, that's a good thing. But the fact is that if you go back to the comprehensive plan and that trade between the Greenbelt and the inside, the agreement is that T6 zone would get density. And so you're going to have more building downtown. The North Shire bookstore is a great, everybody loves that. It wouldn't be there if there wasn't a building.
Well, and again, taking you back even further, I know that when I was in office as finance commissioner, where the ruined building where Putnam Market and Putnam Wine is now was an empty section of Broadway that is now filled in. And anytime we have infill, we get some pushback.
Absolutely.
Because there are people that will feel that too much is too much. But the reality is that the comprehensive plan, as you indicated, does talk about most of your development occurring in your urban core and avoiding that development spreading out into your greenbelt. Parking has always been an issue, and I think through multiple administrations there have been efforts to bring in parking garages and parking decks. But this issue with the city center isn't a new one. This has been something that's been on the books for a long, long time that the city center has been talking about. And in your opinion, it's just something that's absolutely essential.
We need the parking. We need to have the parking, absolutely.
And are you necessarily opposed, or are you willing to, if you were to be elected, sit down with this group to talk about some of the ideas that they have?
Absolutely. I've already indicated that I'd be very happy to sit down and talk with anybody. But the parking is needed now.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good place to leave it. Very definitive statement, John. I appreciate that. And I want to thank all of you for joining us today as well, and thank you for coming on. To see this interview again, head to our website, looktvonline.com.